Goku and Frieza were talking after having helped clean up the mess left by the pirates for the past few days. Goku had been shocked by the information given to him by Frieza about Lord Beerus. He was simply shocked that there was a being so powerful before he even became a Super Saiyan. It excited him that there was now a new standard for him to aim for. But Frieza had said that Lord Beerus had been around for as long as he could remember, and was one of the few people that had seen his final form. He had been surprised that Frieza had challenged Lord Beerus, but it seemed more believable after he had told the entire tale. Well, my father always spoke of this terrifying being that was stronger than him. So when I eventually achieved my final form and my father said I was stronger than him, I want to defeat this monster my father feared. Frieza had actually laughed as he retold the tale. I was young and naive, with a lot of power and no one that could remotely challenge me. And as any child would do at that age, I didn't heed my father's warning. He took on an ominous look. Lord Beerus only spared me because he was bored that day. But my planetary royal retreat and some members of my family were not so lucky. He sneezed. Goku didn't know whether to laugh or comfort the tyrant, but the look that was on the former tyrant's face was anything but frozen in horror, as if reliving the memory. So take my words to heart when I tell you this. The less interaction with Lord Beerus, the longer that you will live. Goku only gave a tight nod, but in the back of his now he had a new goal to reach toward. This guy sounds like bad news. We definitely need to keep training Frieza. Frieza simply shook his head. He knew that the fight would most likely be futile and nothing but a nuisance to the deity, but that would bless him with a quick death. You may have grown up on Earth, but your spirit is very much that of your homeworlders. It seems that you have gotten your affairs in order, a voice said as they both turned to see the Yardat elder walk towards them accompanied by two other Yardats. Well, there were really no other things to do, but now me and Frieza will probably end up fighting this Beerus guy. Frieza's tail met the back of Goku's head once again. Hey, what's the big idea? Goku shouted, turning to Frieza, but he just scoffed. It would do us better if you do not address him in such a casual manner, as he seems to be able to see everything that happens in our universe. Goku just pouted, rubbing the back of his head. You could have just said it. No need to hit me. The Yardat elder had an idea of who Lord Beerus was, as it was spoken about by a predecessor of his in the past that had met him before. The being Frieza speaks of is no evil. That statement made Frieza scowl. Based on the things that he has done, I would say otherwise. The Yardat elder just had a passive look on his face. On the contrary, he is balanced, which piqued both Goku and Frieza's attention. Explain, Frieza said with a familiar coldness that Goku knew all too well. The elder did not seem bothered or worried about it. Well, with creation comes the need for destruction. The universe requires balance. Without balance, either way there's chaos. The huff from Frieza gave his own opinion on the matter, but now Goku seemed more intrigued. So, like, he's not bad? Goku asked, confused. All of this was now seemingly more confusing, but the nod from the Elder Kai told him everything he needed to know. So he's like Piccolo then? We can't beat him because he's too important. But on to others matters, the Elder said, drawing the two's attention once more. Frieza and Goku, your allegiance will be necessary in future. Although the vision of the future remains in motion, Frieza was preparing for the inevitable. Can you please get off our planet talk? But what came next surprised him. We would quite enjoy training you. The both of you. Even Goku was surprised by the statement, because even with how Frieza was acting now, that didn't mean he had forgotten all of his previous crimes. Another thing that drew his attention to Frieza was the fact that he was still in his final form. Hey, Frieza. He turned to the Saiyan. What? Why are you still in your final form? Isn't that like really draining? Frieza just looked at his body and took a few stretches. Well, yes it is, but I quite prefer how this form looks compared to the other ones. Wouldn't you agree? he said with a smirk to Goku. The Saiyan just laughed as he rubbed the back of his head. If you're saying it looks good then that's true, but how are you balancing your energy? Frieza just shrugged. Yes it is, that's why I meditate so much. It helps me maintain it, and with time this will become easier to maintain till it becomes second nature. I would have thought you would do the same. That struck Goku as he thought about it more. If he could maintain Super Saiyan constantly or just make it his normal state, then he could only imagine how much his power would rise. He smirked at Frieza and saw the confused look on the Tyrant's face before he started to power up. The familiar crackle of lighting went around the Saiyan's body as he grunted and started letting out a monstrous screaming. Goku had told Frieza not to be scared of him because he wasn't going to hurt him, but seeing the Saiyan's hair flicker golden and his eyes flicker teal made his blood run cold. The place that Goku had decided to transform at was inconvenient, but the elder Yardit didn't seem as bothered as the others as he just observed the transformation with a smile on his face. This was the first time he was going to get a look at this transformation that Goku had told him about extensively. The elder Yardit was simply impressed by the amount of raw power coming from Goku, but something else he could sense just as strong if not stronger was the fear washing from Frieza in swells. That was something he would have to work on. With one final war cry and Goku almost blowing away some buildings had it not been for the elder Yardit placing a force field around him. The dust slowly settled and in it stood Goku with his golden aura flickering around him and those ever-piercing eyes looking over his surroundings. The aura dissipated as he walked towards Elder Yardit with Frieza next to him. He noticed the subtle speak back that Frieza took when he approached but decided not to talk about it now. They would speak about it later. He took a deep breath, calming himself. Damn Frieza, you are really something. This is taking a lot out of me already and I'm barely in control. But I've never let myself be outdone by anyone. That statement made Frieza let out a small laugh. So you're going to steal my genius? Goku just gave him a smile and that seemed to cut the tension that had been suffocating everyone, because Frieza had seen that this form Goku had rarely ever smiled. Well, not his smile, more a menacing cocky grin. But as soon Yardit children ran out to poke and prod at Goku, wanting to know everything about him, it made him let out a sigh of relief. Well then warriors, it's time to commence your training, the elder said to the two as he turned and started walking. Goku and Frieza turned to face each other before they gave each other a small smirk and started walking following the elder Yardit. Knowing this was the beginning,